Hey, what's up guys, and first of all I want to thank Philip Campbell for this idea. As I told you guys, comment your ideas down below and the most populous one that I put in the vote will be done. So here it is. What if Naruto had the ability to adapt like Doomsday, guys? Yes, so place your feet up, sit back, relax, and yeah, enjoy. The other episode of What If Naruto Was Sukuna would be out tomorrow, guys. And the next vote will be coming up soon. So I might just pick your idea and place it up, and you guys have to vote, and yeah, I'll do it. So yeah, stay in tune and I hope you guys enjoy. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. I indeed have 3 more, guys, and making 2 and making 3. So go ahead and enjoy them, guys. And don't forget to comment down below. And yeah, so without further ado, let's jump right into this brand new series. Begin now, guys. We begin this episode with Hiruzen Saratobi as he sat at his desk. The old man looked like he has been through a lot lately, and he has been. There has been a lot going on in the village, a lot of things that took up a lot of his time. As he looked towards the photographs on the wall, those being the images of all the past Hokages, who gave all that they had to make sure that this village was safe and protected. He was supposed to be one of them, who gave his life on that very night and make sure that Minato lived on to be the protector of the village. However, he did not. He survived and retained the title after the passing of Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage that risked his life to save this village. All he asked for was that his son be seen as a hero. However, he failed. There was no question about it, he failed. And the guilt had eaten him up, because he failed to do the one thing that they asked him to do. However, the village was in such a damaging state that he had to spend most of his time putting it back together. And at the end of it, he had already lost Naruto. The child had learned that he did not need anyone. A mentality that set him apart from a lot of people. He only had himself to rely on. Hiruzen tried his best to make sure the child was okay, as he was in the orphanage. However, things escaped him. He did not even know that Naruto had been kicked out of the orphanage for a long while. He was so busy he did not know anything about that, and he blamed himself for everything that took place. Soon after that, what happened with the Uchiha clan rocked the village, and that took more of his time to quell the suspicions, the anger, the hate. So yes, he did not spend any time to help the boy, to fulfill the last wish of one of their heroes. But he was just one man, and he couldn't do all, but yet he still blamed himself. The boy that was once known as Naruto Uzumaki was no longer in this village. He ran away. Hiruzen sighed, as everything had led up to this point. The villagers had taken their wrath out on the young boy. Hiruzen had no idea that this was going on. They call it the annual fox hunt. When they hunt down the boy and hurt him, he had no idea, because if he did, the wrath that he would have rained down upon them for hurting such a child, just because of misconceived judgments. It wouldn't have been nice. When he finally got around to get into the orphanage, that is when he found out everything. He had immediately stripped several people of their title. He was angry. He was livid. Because of his packed schedule, he got reports from said orphanage that Naruto was there and fine, and yet it was all a lie. All a lie. But he never went deeper into the investigation, so he would never know. He never spared the time, even if he did have it, so he was to blame as well. As he sent his envoys out to search a village, to try and find the child. However, he was nowhere to be found. He was not in the village. They searched the land of fire, but he was nowhere to be found. Naruto Uzumaki was no longer within the village. Hiruzen had to keep this quiet. At first, he knew the backlash. If the villagers were to find out, they would be happy, yes. However, Naruto wasn't just any normal child. He contained Konoha weapon. That was a Nine Tails. The deterrent that Konoha used over the other nations of having the strongest tail beasts. Konoha military might has been slipping in the past couple of years. The Nine-Tail attack took many of their shinobi, and an entire clan was eviscerated. One of their more powerful clan that made it even worse. So yes, for rumors to spread that Konoha no longer had the Nine-Tails, that wouldn't be good at all. However, the villagers started to notice that the boy was no longer here. They no longer saw him. The last incident that Hiruzen found out had made sure the villagers backed away from him. Yes, the beatings had happened, but something happened to Naruto and he suddenly snapped. A villager was placed in the hospital after the right side of his face had been torn off. It is said that the boy turned animalistic and attacked him. They blame everything on Naruto. They kept this quiet because they knew they would have to explain what happened that led up to this point. And they did not want the Hokage to do any investigation to find out that they were the ones that attacked him first. And he retaliated, so it was kept quiet. However, Hiruzen, when he truly got to dive into the situation, he was able to find out what truly happened. That was how he was able to find out about the annual fox hunt. When he placed pressure down on that certain individual that was in hospital. And he was mortified. And now the child was gone. He ran away at 6 years old. He never had the chance to attend the academy. He didn't have the skills to survive. He didn't even know if the child was alive or dead. As he glanced up towards the portrait, it seems like the eyes of Minato was just judging him, as he failed to help the boy. That was 5.5 years ago, and to this day he had no idea where the boy was. Time skip. Unknown location. It was a giant forest. At the dead of night, a massive bear was currently growling up in a tree, as its paws scratch and tear against the bark. It was going to bring the tree down. It was upset, angry. However, before the tree could be torn down, something leaped. The bear reached up as it went on. 2 legs, pawing at what was coming down from the sky. However, the thing slipped right through the bear guard and landed a blow right into its throat, causing the thing to fall back down on 4 legs. The person wasn't finished though, as he landed like a cat on all 4s. The growl came from the individual as the bear growled as well. They charged at one another. The person leaped as the bear swiped. A heel came down on the bear, left side, slamming into it hard. The person flipped over and there was a sound. As a strange weapon could be seen, it came down and ripped into the bear's flesh. The animal screamed out and turned and slammed into the individual as it threw him back. He slammed right into a tree foot first and threw himself forward. The strange weapon once again gouged into the animal. As this wasn't any normal gouging, it collapsed, slowly dying as the person stood there, his strange colored eyes looking down towards the beast. The strange weapon came down once again and it was done. He then showed impressive strength as he lifted the giant beast up as he started to walk away with it, making his way towards a cave that was quite a distance away. His walking turned into a jog before turning to a run. It took him a while as he finally arrived. He threw the beer off his shoulder before he stepped forward towards the cave. The entrance was closed. A gigantic boulder there. He stepped forward as he started to push, as it started to creak before it started to open up. He then grabbed the beer and stepped forward. Once he was inside, he started to push it back to the side as it settled back in its usual spot. He then started to traverse deep into the cave. It was rather large. It seemed to be connected with other caves in this strange, lopsided mountain. There was holes that was outside on top of the mountain that gave light. And when it was nighttime, the moonlight was a sign of light that shined down. As the person threw the beer off his shoulder to the side, he then started to gather what he needed before he set the flames. Once that was done, he started. He had no weapon, no knife could be seen. However, a few moments later, a giant piece of meat was frying over the flames as he sat there. Now that the moonlight shined down upon him, you could see his face. He had blue pupils. However, there was this weird green in his blue that seemed to contrast with it. And strangely enough, there was a slit in the center of his pupil. Yes, a black slit that made him look rather ferocious and dangerous. But not only that, even while his mouth was closed, a fang could be seen poking out of his lip as he yawned, showing rows of sharp fangs. This was not uncommon. Members of Kiri's 7 Ninja Swordsmen always shave their teeth down. However, this was not his doing. This was all natural. It was meant for tearing into tough flesh. As the light of the moon castrated down, it shows that he had bright blonde hair. It ran down toward his shoulder, not going too far in his back. It was spiky and erratic, making him look wild and dangerous. He was not wearing a shirt. He was wearing a fur around his neck that covered up his shoulders. Around both of his arms from the elbow going down was a strange leathery material that was wrapped around them tightly. Underneath that, he was wearing black pants with a lot of pockets. He was wearing no footwear as he reached forward and grabbed the stick, pulling the meat out, as he then sank his teeth into it despite how hot it was, as he teared the flesh off and started to gobble it down. This was none other than Naruto Uzumaki. From a young age, he knew that he was different from other individuals. The way he was treated, the way he was looked at, the way he felt. He doubted that he was the same as everyone else. His body was unique, his body was special. However, the true estimate of what he was came to him that day. He was 5 years old. He had been kicked out of the orphanage after many aggressions on theirs and his part. On that day, he was attacked. It was a brutal attack. He tried to protect himself, but he was not strong enough. They held him down, they beat him. They attacked him ruthlessly, claiming that he was the one that took the loved ones away from them. The next thing he knew, he was left there in his own blood, barely breathing. For a moment there, he thought he had died, as he came across something inside of him. The reason why he was treated as such. He met the great beast. But that was not all. When he finally came to, he was able to find out how special he was. His body had grown stronger. Their punches, their kicks, their weapons. It made his body evolve. Evolution right in front of his own eyes. And his feet had also changed as well. He was much slower before the beating. However, He wanted to be faster. He needed to be faster, so his legs adapted. And they became faster. He needed to jump higher. The muscles in his legs, his whole body, regulated to the height of his jump. And he was able to leap farther than he's ever been able to. He needed to scale walls and run away, something that he could not do until the palm of his hands, his fingers, they became so rough. He could actually stuck himself to a wall. There were strange little spikes. However, one could not see it with the naked eye. His body had developed so that he could climb walls. His legs, the bottom of his feet, the same way. He was able to scale walls without anything, leaping. His teeth was too weak to eat certain things. They evolve. Evolution. They change. Fangs that could rip through flesh without even hesitation. He spoke to the fox inside of him, who started to let him understand why these things were happening. At first he was confused. The fox was supposed to be an evil beast that hated everything and everyone, yet it was helping him. Whenever he asked why, it refused to answer, saying that he did not need to know why. But he did not care. He only needed to be stronger. The next time he was attacked by a drunk, he tore his face off. He needed his hands to be able to grip and rip. His nails were able to extend and tear into flesh now. He watched, actually smirking as he saw the guy drop and roll in pain. His friends attacked him. He ran away though. However, that was it. That was the first taste that he had, that he should not let himself be pushed around. He should be better. He should not let himself be weak. He should be stronger. So he came to the realization of what he must do. This place, he hold no love for it or the people there. And they hate him for something that he couldn't even control. So screw them. He left. Planning his perfect escape, he ran away from the village. And for the past 5.5 years he's been out here in the wild. And that was not all. He needed weapons. Something that could strike down his targets. At first, running away was a scary thought, but he was attacked. Yes, he was attacked by wolves. They bit into his flesh. They tear at his flesh. He fought them as hard as he could. However, they bite and tear into him. There was so much of them. He thought he was going to die. That was when the red chakra exploded out of him. It scared them away. He was left in a broken state. However, by the next morning he healed, and his skin was tougher, and now he had weapons. On the back of his hand, right at his wrist, he could elongate a strange material that was extremely sharp. The length was dependent on him. He had no idea what it was made out of, but it was coming from his own body. And now, whenever he got attacked once again, well, he went looking for an attack. He found the wolves. He needed to sense them, so his hearing and his nose got better. He could smell them. He could see in the dark. Because it was so dark, his eyes adapted. He became a predator, and they became the prey. He hunted them down to the last one. That is when he found the alpha, and he ripped him apart with his bare hands. This coat that he was wearing was the alpha. Naruto picked himself up, a toothy smile on his face, as he made his way towards his sleeping quarters. It was a gigantic mass of fur, animal fur that he packed together as he threw himself on top of it. Time to rest, he thought to himself. Things were much better out here than they were back at that damn village where he was stuck. As he lied down and went to sleep. The next morning, Naruto yawned as he stepped out of his cave, closing it behind him. He bent his knees before he leaped as he landed on top of said cave. He then heard a voice spoke in his head. So what now? It was none other than the Kyuubi, the one that has been his helper. For unknown reasons, as a fox would not tell him why he was being so nice. Naruto sniffed the ear. People were nearby, he said. He was surprised because these regions, from he's been here, he's never seen a person. I doubt that was any normal person. The fox spoke up. What do you mean? Given the location that you're at, the only one I believe that can come anywhere close to this location is ninjas. So you better be careful. Ninjas, huh? Said Naruto, as his keen eyes surveyed the area. Let us see what is going on, as he leaped. The mountain top was a bit steep, so when he started to dive, as Naruto rolled, the bottom of his feet slammed into the ground. As it was so strong, as he started to run down the hillside, he ran, his speed impressive for his age, before he leaped off. He grabbed onto a tree branch with his nails and flipped. As he landed and flipped, swinging from tree to tree, jumping and leaping like an animal. He then finally arrived as he landed, crouching down on the tree. As he sniffed the area, looking around, that is when his hearing picked up on something. As he leaped forward and landed to see a man with a gigantic blade swinging it around against two others. They were both wearing masks. As their blades clashed against his, he knocked them away as they were sent flying. The both of them flip and regroup. Several senbons were sent towards them, but two others arrive and block all of the senbons. The four of them then split, two going after each. Naruto turned as he saw the other one. It was a young. He could not tell what gender this individual was. He was not sure. However, they were keeping up with these people that were twice their size. These full adult ninjas clashing with this person. As Naruto watched in interest until one of them outpaced the individual with speed, despite how fast the younger one was. The older man heard the cry as the younger one was sent sailing and slammed right into a tree. It seems the individual would die. As Naruto watched, the both of them ganging up on this person that did not seem right. It was just like back when he was in the village. If you were going to fight, fight fair. Naruto gripped onto the tree, his nails ripping chunks out of it as he leaped. The Kirimisi ninja was moving as he sliced his blade forward. The individual could not move in time, but he could move to avoid a fatal death. That was until a feet was coming down. The Kira ninja turned as something slammed on his blade, knocking it downwards, a slash, tearing through his mask. If his mask was not there, his face would have been gouged to pieces, as Naruto's nails had ripped it apart. Naruto landed as the other one did not waste time and launched himself. He swung his blade towards Naruto's neck. Naruto ducked underneath it as he slammed one hand on the ground and launched his other hand towards the individual's stomach. However, the ninja knocked it down as Naruto flipped and launched his other leg up. However, the person pulled back and slicing across Naruto's stomach area, forcing him to flip back. As Naruto landed, he saw something drop towards the ground. He realized it was red. He touched his stomach before he looked towards his hand. He then growled as he realized it was his blood. Those blades were no ordinary blades. The individual looked towards him. They had no time to talk as the two individuals rushed back in to end their existence. Naruto leaped up in the air as he twists. He then came down and brought his heel as he did. However, the person used their forearm and blocked it. They were shocked by the strength though, as they felt the force. They knocked him away and stepped forward and launched a fist. It slammed into Naruto's chest. As he was sent sailing, they appeared behind him and sliced. Naruto cried out as the thing tear into his back. He collapsed face first on the ground. The person stomped, trying to crush his skull as Naruto rolled away, flipping upwards as he launched two kicks. However, they slapped it down and slapped him away out of mid-air. They turned their blade and drive it towards his chest, but Naruto slammed both of his hands together, stopping the thing as it tear into his flesh, but it was his hands. As Naruto was holding the blade as blood was leaking from his hands, the person pulled their blade back before they swiped forward, but before the blade could reach Naruto's neck though, a Senbon knocked it upwards as Naruto was able to land. A Senbon was then thrown once again. The ninja was forced to turn and block it, giving Naruto the chance as he drive his heel right in the person's knee. The ninja was caught off guard as the sound of bone snapping could be heard. That pissed them off as the other one attacked the other individual that tried to protect Naruto, knocking them away as well. This time the man on one leg went mad. He held the blade up. Electricity started to course through it. He was so fast as he vanished. Behind you, Naruto heard in his head as he spun. However, it was too late. Blood splattered everywhere as the blade was shoved into Naruto's shoulder. If he hadn't moved, that would have been his heart. Naruto gritted his teeth as electricity coursed through him. He opened his mouth and screamed to the heavens as the thing intensified. The ninja was planning on burning him out from the inside as smoke was leaving Naruto's mouth. His body started burning from the inside. That was until Naruto's left hand started to tingle as he felt it, the lightning coursing through him. He brought his hand down and slammed it on the blade. It actually counteracted the lightning. The ninja was surprised and confused as he released too much and Naruto released too much as well, because this was not supposed to happen. When they collide, it went up in a bright light. In that split moment, despite his wound, as Naruto was blinded by the light, his eyes adjusted. They adapt, and he was able to see in the light. Naruto shot forward and slammed his head right in the individual's stomach, knocking them back, as Naruto then extended both of his weapons and leaped. He slashed, tearing through the individual right calf. The man screamed out in pain as Naruto gutted him, driving his blade into his stomach. The ninja turned his hand as he pulled out a kunai. Seeing that he had dropped his blade, he drove it and stabbed it into Naruto's gut, trying to get him off him. He twisted it and pushed it further. Yet, Naruto did not stop as he pushed his further, as Naruto elongated the blade until it burst through all sorts of organs and stabbed right in the ninja's heart. His hand loosened on his grip as he dropped to the side. Naruto panted as he was bleeding heavily. He reached down and grabbed the kunai. His vision was blurry. He wasn't that tough, said Naruto, as he panted some more. Behind you, kid! The fox roared out in his head as Naruto turned, but it was too late. Kunais, however, not normal. They slammed into him as he turned, tearing through his flesh. Naruto fell backwards as he collapsed. The ninja rushed towards his comrade as he checked the pulse. No, 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 he said. Damn it! Rage in his eyes. He then felt something as he turned, drawing his blade as it clashed. However, the oversized blade shattered his blade and ripped through him. Zabuza Mamakai planted the blade down into his chest, killing him, sending him wherever his friend went. The blade was broken in different areas, but the blood started to reform it. Zabuza had several cuts over him. As he looked around, that seemed to be the last of them, he said. As Haku walked up beside him, Haku's arm seemed to be injured. Zabuza asked, Who is he? I don't know. He just came out of nowhere to help, and he got killed for it. Tuh, he should have been stronger, Zabuza said. Despite on the inside he was happy that it wasn't Haku the one that was dead. Haku stepped forward and checked the boy's pulse. Nothing, he said. We have to go. Who knows if there are more out here coming after us? We have to leave immediately. Haku looked back sadly. It's done, Haku, let's go. As they stepped off, they heard something. They turned as they saw the boy twitch. His eyes then snapped open as he roared to the heavens, all the kunais plucking out of his body. He got up on his feet. As he looked towards them, his eyes seemed feral and dangerous. That was until he collapsed face first. They looked towards each other. Time skip. Naruto was just regaining consciousness, as he was confused what was going on. He looked around, his eyes already being able to see perfectly inside of wherever they are. As Naruto pulled himself up, he was clean. The blood that was on him was wiped off, but there was no bandages. As Naruto stepped out, as he smelled someone, he arrived to see the same person from earlier, the one that he tried to save. Well, not save, he just thought that teaming up on one person was bad. The person turned. You're awake. As Naruto tilted his head and looked the individual up and down. He then looked around. Where am I? Somewhere safe. It's alright, you're okay. As the person was looking at him. What? Said Naruto. It's just... I'm not trying to be rude, but... What are you? What do you mean, what am I? Said Naruto, as he looked the individual up and down. As I said, I'm not trying to be rude. However, those ninjas that you helped us fought off, they were Kiri ninjas. Their weapons are always coated in poison, and if not, they have vials on them to be used. You were hit with poison. One of the main reasons why I think you fell. Otherwise, I think you would have kept on going. But strangely enough, I was certain that for a moment you were dead. You had no pulse. You were gone, and yet you returned. I did not die, said Naruto. I was just weakened. And when that happened, I returned stronger, and stronger than before. You're right, Haku said. The poison that hit you. I have the antidote. And I was going to administrate it to you, however. There was no trace of it. Not to mention, I tried to clean your wounds, but they had hardly healed up. And your skin, it almost feels like something tough is underneath it. Naruto touched his chest and his stomach. Its body had adapted to not be pierced so easily ever again. It would take something harder, with a lot more power to pierce through his skin. As Naruto flexed his arms. That is why I asked, what are you? I am Naruto, he said. And what are you? And she did not know if he took offense to what she said. But the way he was reacting, it was hard to tell. It seems like you don't want to talk about it, so I'll drop it. But thank you for helping me back there. Things would have went far bad quickly if you did not intervene. I did it because they were teaming up on you. No one deserved that. A fight should be fair. I see, Haku said. As Naruto stepped forward and sniffed. What are you doing? Haku said. Are you a boy or are you a girl? Naruto asked. I'm a boy, Haku said. You're lying, said Naruto immediately. What are you talking about? Girls, they smell different. I cannot tell by your face. However, you smell like a girl, yet you claim to be a boy. So you're lying. My nose has never tricked me before. And now that I'm this close to you, I can tell. You're a girl. Haku seemed unsure what to say to him. Almost hesitant. As she looked away. Fine, she said. I'm not sure what is up with that nose of yours, but yes, I'm a girl. But it's not something I like to broadcast. It's hard enough to be in this world already. I see. So you hide your gender. Bad people out there always like to go after girls. I've seen it, said Naruto. Then you understand. Tuh. No, I don't. If you're a girl, be a girl. Do not fear anyone. If they have a problem with you, cut them down, said Naruto. Well, that's a way to live, she said. However, it's not the best of ones. But I'm curious. Why are you out here all by yourself? Aren't you from a village? Haku asks. I was, but I left my village. Why? Haku said. Because they hated me for what I was. So screw them. I can fend for myself on my own. I don't need any of them. I don't need anyone but myself. I will become stronger, and then no one can ever try to hurt me ever again, said Naruto. You should do the same, otherwise you will never be allowed to live as who you are. And that is just pathetic, he said. As he started to walk away. Wait, where are you going? Haku said. I do not know. What do you mean? I mean I do not know. I go where I go. As Naruto bumped into. So the brat is awake. It's not Brat. My name is Naruto. Brat Naruto. I see no difference, said Zabuza. I would suggest that you watch your mouth, said Naruto. Oh? And what exactly are you gonna do if I don't? I'll remove it for you, said Naruto. Huh. Quite the claim, huh? I'm guessing you have no idea who I am. I don't. And I don't give a damn, said Naruto. Now, get out of my way. Now hold on there, kid. I said, get out of my way, said Naruto. His pointed teeth started to show. As he looked at Zabuza, the man did not move as Naruto leaped forward. However, Zabuza was faster than him, as he found himself against the wall. A blade, right next to his face. Brats like you should learn how to humble themselves in this world, otherwise you will die sooner than later. As Zabuza had one hand pinning Naruto against the wall, as Naruto saw the first bandages. You might want to let go of me, said Naruto. If we were to fight right now, you will not escape unscathed. And given that you're already injured, I can make things a whole lot worse. As Zabuza looked towards him. Tuh, cocky piece of shit, aren't you? He said. Say what you please, but I suggest you release me now. Zabuza-sama, Haku said. He's not our enemy, he's just a odd little piece of shit, said Zabuza as he released Naruto. As Naruto walked and leaped away. Zabuza was surprised as Naruto leaped so high as he landed in a tree. What the hell? He leaped to another one and he was gone. Tuh, screw that kid. Let's just rest up here for the night. We leave in the morning, said Zabuza. As Haku looked off the location that Naruto went. Time skip. Haku was traversing through the forest. She's always been a kind, gentle soul, despite the things that they had to do. And she was worried about this young man that saved her, and asked for nothing in return. With the way he was going, she was afraid that if she did not say something, he might end up dead. And if she can do something to stop that, what kind of person she would be if she did not say anything about it. However, she was not sure where he went. A lot of time had passed. She had to wait until Zabuza-sama went to sleep. For all she knew, the boy was long gone by now. She felt something, yet she did not sense him at all. She turned, as she looked up in the tree to see him right there. His mismatched eyes looking at her. Why are you out here? He said. I thought you would be long gone by now. She was surprised. She did not sense him. She felt the presence, but she did not fully sense him as a ninja would. That caused her to raise her eyebrow. I was looking for you, she said. He leaped from the tall tree. She was not sure if he was using chakra or not. As he dropped down, there was just something so unique about him. This was truly out of character for Haku. Usually when Zabuza said something she did not disobey, she listened, without a second thought, and yet here she was, disobeying his order by coming out here for this boy. As Naruto looked at her, he started to circle her, like a predator circling a prey. "What do you want?" said Naruto. "Well, Haku did not actually know what she wanted. She spent the better part of her years doing what Zabuza said, so she did not know even what to say to him. "Speak, woman," he said to her. "If you continue on the way you are, you're going to die out here." "Tch. Is this what you bring me?" "Nonsense," said Naruto. "That I will die. Because you're mistaken. I will not die until I achieve greatness. And even then, I shall traverse death itself. Not even it will hold me." She looked at him like he was crazy. However, the look on his face, it was like he actually believed in what he was saying. "Now leave me alone," said Naruto. Wait!" Naruto paused. "Why don't you come with us?" "What?" said Naruto, looking at her. Yes, you said you want to become stronger, right? Zabuza-sama is strong. I don't need any help. I know that, but we could always use some help. We do missions. Not for the bestest people, but these missions are usually very dangerous, and we usually fight dangerous foes. What you saw today is a daily activity that we go through. Well, not exactly every day, but it's not easy either. We're being hunted by a group. So if you want to keep on growing and getting stronger, you can help us fight and stop these people. This was a weak selling point, but it was the only thing that she could say to make him stay behind. So you want me to join you and your partner being hunted by people that are trying to kill you and will try to kill me as well, so I can gain strength? Now that she heard it back, it sounded quite stupid and ridiculous. Yeah? As Naruto looked at her, as he was silent for a long moment. Time skip. Zabuza had woken up. Of course he would not sleep through the whole night. His body had been set to wake up in all times. To be prepared, he was a warrior. However, when he glanced over, he was shocked to see no one there. That was truly confusing to him. Where the hell was Haku? Zabuza grabbed his blade as he made his way outside, only to see none other than Haku, along with that boy. "Haku," he said. "Zabuza-sama, you're awake." Haku turned his gaze towards Naruto. What is he doing here? "That's none of your business," said Naruto. Zabuza raised his blade towards the child. "You're here in my presence and telling me that it's none of my business. You should really watch what you say, brat. And I told you, stop calling me a brat. My name is Naruto," he said. "I'll call you whatever you feel like." As Naruto looked at him, his weapon started to elongate slowly. "Yeah, keep it up. It's not my fault that you're gonna feel excessive pain afterwards." "Is that a threat?" Zabuza asked. "Take it as you like it." As Haku stepped in between the both of them. I was the one that went to him, Zabuza-sama. I was wondering if you could come with us." "Are you crazy?" Zabuza said, looking towards her. "Why the hell would we bring him along?" "I doubt that is any of your concern, you no-eyebrow freak," said Naruto. "What did you just call me?" said Zabuza, as he looked towards the brat. "You heard me. Call me a brat. I'll call you like I see it, you no-eyebrow freak." Zabuza swung his blade as Naruto deflected with his weapon that came from his arm, as the both of them glared at one another as Haku stepped in between them, pushing the both of them apart. Surprising Zabuza, as Haku was never the forceful one, especially when it comes to him and the decisions that he made. "I was wondering if he could come with us and help us. You said yourself, if he remains out here by himself he will die. And that's my business, why, Zabuza said. Well, he saved my life. If he hadn't arrived there, I would have been seriously hurt or dead. And I doubt that I would have come back out of that as I am right now. And when I mean hurt, I mean really hurt if it wasn't for him. So the least we can do is help him out. He wants to become stronger. And I promised him that he can help us on missions so he can fight people. Something that he desires. To train and get stronger as well with us. There's no way I'm training this brat. I didn't ask for any of your training. Besides, what the hell could someone like you teach me? Once again, you seem to have no idea who I am, brat. Let me inform you. I am Zabuza Momokai, otherwise known as a Demon of the Mist, a former member of the Seven Ninja Swordsmen. Zabuza said, hoping to see some recollection or for the kid to understand his place. And why the hell should I care, said Naruto, throwing his whole thinking off, causing Zabuza to glare at him even more. As Haku looked towards Zabuza. Can we speak in private, she said. Zabuza looked towards her before he sighed. What? He said when they were alone. I know he's hard to handle, but today we came close to being ambushed and completely overrun. Don't you think it would be best for us to have backup with us next time? Because as I see it, if it wasn't for him, I would have probably been dead, and then they would have ganged upon you and either bring you back for execution or kill you on the spot. Zabuza frowned, as he was never going to admit something like that this brat was the reason why he was still here. And because of that you expect us to help him and train him. Well, actually, he doesn't want you to train him. He just wants to come along with us. He doesn't have a home or anyone. I think this will be my way of repaying him. Curse you, Haku. That soft heart of yours is gonna get us all killed one day. Does this mean he can come? Haku asks. Zabuza frowned. Moments later as they returned. Listen here, brat, said Zabuza. If you're gonna be coming with us, there's going to be some rules. Screw your rules, said Naruto. Naruto, Haku said. Zabuza-sama is trying to reach out. I'm not trying to reach out. He should just listen. Can you two please, Haku said, raising her voice. As the both of them looked at her, as Naruto folded both of his arms. We can speak about this in the morning. We still have a couple of hours left. So, why don't we rest for the night? Haku said, as they looked at one another. Time skip. When Zabuza woke up once again, he wondered if everything was a dream until he saw that annoying little brat. Stop looking at me, said Naruto. And what are you gonna do if I don't? Zabuza said. Perhaps remove your eyes, said Naruto. Tuh, I would like to see you try. As Naruto got up, releasing his weapon once again. As Zabuza drew for his blade. Are you two really at it already? Haku said, not understanding the confliction between these two. They just seem to always want to attack one another. Something that made her upset. Because, if they have not noticed, the both of them are rather similar in the way they carry themselves and conduct certain things. However, that was something that she doubted they would ever in a million years accept. Time skip. 1 week later. The group had been traveling for the past week. Naruto did not reveal much about himself. However, Haku spent majority of the time talking to him, as she liked having someone at least close to her age around, despite her being older than him. Zabuza and him still did not get along in the slightest, as they fought each other at least several times since they've joined forces together, as they were always at each other's throats. However, this was the first mission that they were receiving. Zabuza had a guy that contacted him whenever there were some dangerous clients, and the guy get a piece of the action. So this was the first time. They were brought to an undisclosed location, as Naruto wasn't sure where it was and he did not really care. Kurama seen nothing wrong with this situation, as he was allowing Naruto to go along with them, as this might help him get stronger as well. Inside of Naruto's mindscape, as the fox was residing inside of his current home. Usually, especially after the battle that Naruto fought, the fox chakra would have expanded to help him, but Naruto's body was not normal. It was hard for Kurama chakra to expel through his coils. His body, inside and out, evolved by itself. The first time Kurama had sent out chakra to try and help him was when those wolves attacked him, when he used it to scare them off, and his body adapted to the chakra. So now, his body rejected it. It was almost like it was saying it did not need it, as it was found in Naruto chakra and expanding it. The boy's chakra was turning abnormal. The body had felt a taste of Kurama's chakra now. It wanted the same through its coils. That is why Kurama could not heal Naruto as normally. However, the boy had a normal healing rate, which was growing exponentially every time it is used. The more he healed, the faster his healing ability got. And Kurama wasn't able to fully exercise his chakra in the boy. He'd noticed this from day one. Kurama had his reasons why he was not trying to, kill the boy and get free. As he had his reasons. Something that he was curious about. Something that he wanted to see. Something so curious that he did not want to get free, despite him spending a long time captivated for so many years now. As he watched the interaction that was taking place outside. On the outside, as Naruto was leaning up against a wall, he was still not wearing any shirt. He was wearing the fur collar that came down towards his shoulders, and he was still wearing black pants. Haku had tried to get him some footwear. However, Naruto found none of them comfortable, and he hated all of them. Zabuza had made fun of him, saying that he looked like some prehistoric animal, like a wild beast, having on no shoes or anything. However, Naruto did not much care what he said, because he always had something to say about his missing eyebrows, or how stupid he looked with those bandages over his face. As Naruto glanced over to see Zabuza speaking towards a client. "What are we doing?" said Naruto. "I think we're here to protect someone." "Tch, that's a waste of time." "I told you," Haku said. "These protection things are any mission that we do. It's never legit, so it's something bad," she said. Naruto gave her a look. "You seem to be against this. Why? Isn't it your job?" "Yes, it is, but it is what we do to make ends meet." "And continue on," she said. "After all, it's just a job." Tch, Naruto crossed his arms. "If you keep on pretending to be weak, you will become so eventually. You get pay and they get your services. There is nothing else out of it. Kill who you are told to kill. You are also getting something out of this, so why deny it?" She looked towards him. "Don't you feel sympathy for the people that you go up against? I saw what you did to that Kira ninja, and I doubt that was the first time you ever killed someone. Don't you feel guilt, regret?" "I used to," said Naruto. "And I haven't killed much people as you might think. There was only one other person." As Naruto frowned. "I do not want to talk about it. As I was saying, if you don't kill them, they will kill you. So feeling these feelings are just making you weak." Zabuza walked over. "What do they want?" Zabuza looked towards Naruto, but this time he was much calmer. "We're going to escort a certain individual." "Escort," Haku said. "Yes. He has something very valuable that many people want. and his life might be in great danger. It's something bad, isn't it? Haku said. It doesn't matter, said Zabuza. We leave in 5 minutes. Think you can keep up, brat? You just watch, no eyebrow freak, said Naruto. Time skip. As they made their way, their so-called client was a man that seemed to be in his late 40s. He had gray hair, but not because of age. It was a bit more silver than gray, but the color was so similar. He had brown eyes. He was wearing modern clothing. Nothing too fancy, nothing that stands out. He seemed to be more relaxed, yet he spoke with this intelligence like someone that studied some... Naruto was not sure, but he could tell that he was a very intelligent person. It wasn't much to say, other than them bringing him somewhere and getting paid for their mission. What he had was something great. But Naruto did not see anything on him. He had no pouches, other than the water bottle that he had drinking. As Naruto wondered what was the goods. Hey, old man, said Naruto. The man turned towards him. As he wasn't that old. I'm not that old. Compared to me you are, said Naruto. Zabuza frowned as he looked towards Naruto, pissing off the client. Tell me, what are we delivering? Because I don't see anything on you. I'm afraid I can't tell you that. It's a secret. Oh, I see, said Naruto. You're what we're delivering. What? I'm guessing that you know something or that you have something. After all, you have nothing, so you must be the object that we're delivering to the location. Tch, that's boring, said Naruto. The man seemed to be happy that Naruto dropped it. As they start to walk once again, he was not as fast or anywhere close to them in terms of being an actual ninja, so they had to move in a slow pace. Hey, what do you think it is? Naruto asked his tenant. I have no idea, but you are correct in your assumption. It must be something that he obtained. Perhaps some wisdom or knowledge that he knows. Something that people want. Yeah, you're right about that, said Naruto as he sniffed the air. Someone's coming. What? Said Zabuza, not sensing anything. I don't sense anyone. My sensory abilities are far better than yours. But someone is coming, said Naruto, as his spears appeared out of the back of his hand. The client stepped away as Haku jumped, moving to protect the client, looking around. Haku grabbed the client as something landed as Naruto looked at it. Before he leaped away, so did Zabuza, as it exploded. Haku landed with the client, only to see several shurikens and kunais. They were all aimed towards her. She had her hands full with said client who was squirming. He was in a panic. Before they could impale her though, Naruto arrived and slapped them all away, using his weapons that were attached to him. Once again he saved her. Naruto then jumped up in the air. As he looked around, his eyes surveying the forest. That is when he saw them, running all around. They were so far out of his reach, he could not reach them. As Naruto looked down towards his hands, he held his hands out. The spikes flew. The weapons flew out at blinding speed, impaling one of them. It then regrew. Naruto smirked as he proceeded to land and took off in the forest. He ran after the others, trusting that no eyebrow freak would go after the others. As Naruto arrived to see one of them, his leg was pinned to a tree by Naruto's stake. Naruto smirked until he looked up. 3 kunais with explosive tags attached to them. They were even going to kill their own comrade. Naruto shoved his hand forward and grabbed onto the guy. As the guy screamed as Naruto tore him, as a spike ripped out of his leg, Naruto lifted him upwards as the explosive stabbed into his back. Naruto threw him, but they went off too soon as he was sent sailing and crashing through several trees. As he landed, Two of them came down upon him, weapons drawn, to stab directly into his skull. That was when a massive water bullet slammed into them, throwing them away. As Naruto glanced over to see Zabuza. "Get the hell up and fight," he said, as Naruto flicked back up to his feet. Looking around, they were sticking to the shadows. Fine, if they want to stick to the shadows, let them. He will simply kill them all where they were. Naruto held his hand out as he felt that tingle in his hand. Electricity started to run all over his body as it spread throughout his core. Naruto held his hand to the foliage and then it exploded forward in a violent, colossal blast. Zabuza stopped what he was doing as he looked over, shocked. Raw, uncontrollable electricity was shooting from the kid's hand. Zabuza was confused. He knew the kid was special, not only for his strength and speed, but how the hell was someone his age doing something like that? They have not dived into his personal life, as he's not dived into theirs. However, this was certainly something that Zabuza would gladly want to know that he could do. As Naruto burned the entire forest, the electricity tearing and eating away at everything, burning everything to a crisp. Almost like fire, yet it was so much more destructive as it struck. A scream could be heard as Naruto rushed out to see. It was a Kunoichi, as she was holding on to her left shoulder and her left leg. As her body had been hit multiple times, her vest had been burned that she was wearing. She looked at him with a snarl. As she held her weapon in her other hand despite her bleeding, Naruto held both of his fists up as she rushed forward, only for the stick to fly out of his hand and stab right through her chest, pinning her to the rock stone behind her. "Stupid," he said, as Naruto stepped forward until he heard something as he looked down. Naruto's eyes widened as the ground was covered with explosives. He looked up as the girl looked towards him, blood leaking from her mouth as she smirked, her head falling as she did so. "Oh shit," said Naruto. Boom! Haku looked off to the foliage after moving away with the client to keep him safe. Her eyes widened as a colossal blast teared through the entire forest. Zabuza, who just cut down another, glanced over. He slammed his blade in the ground as many debris and a violent wind rushed past him. If the kid got hit by that, strong or not, he's toast. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want things to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform, and also don't forget to go ahead and enjoy the other channels. Yes, I need a 4 of them. Link will be down in the description. So yeah, without further ado or waste no more time, let's get the hell out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.